I grew up poor. I grew up with 10 people living in a 3-bedroom trailer. We didn't have a lot of food to eat at times. We'd have to eat mayonnaise sandwiches, syrup sandwiches. All these parts and stuff, my uncles, we used to all look through this to try to sell and try to make money. We didn't have a lot of conveniences because we lived outside of the city limits. And I think that here is where my heart for community started. And it was just in the simple sense of all of us working together, growing together, living together, and doing all the work that was required. And I think that as I evolved to more financial sufficiency, I think that it was easier for me to look back and have a passion for other people who were in those same conditions to say, you know what, how can I be a part of building a better and stronger community around people, and maybe they can make the leap that I was able to make. We play football. I mean, it looks small now, but when you was a kid, it was big. It was on the sports field, on the football field itself, that the racial barriers were dropped, because I lived in the segregated South. You know, in high school, I was playing football, and I was heavily recruited. You know, I was one of the top recruits in the state of Texas. I could have went to any Division I college that I wanted to go to.
Damon Dunn at the 10.
And so I chose to go to Stanford University because I felt like it gave me the best opportunity to be successful. Even if football didn't work out, it was the best choice, you know, that I've ever made in my life. And I was surrounded by kids that wanted to be senators and Supreme Court justices and president of the United States, and it caused my ambition to grow. And that was one of the single most important lessons I learned at Stanford. Whatever it is that you can conceive, if you're willing to work hard enough, you can achieve it.
Looking at him, it kind of sets the expectation, or it breaks through a lot of the stereotypes that, you know, African American or Hispanic students are not able to go on to college, and he was able to break that.
When he rolled out of the NFL and he was ready to start his business career, his idea of starting was not going to work for somebody else. It was starting his own company, and they started basically from scratch.
When I was 12 years old, I was a class clown. And one day my teacher had enough of it, and she put me out of the classroom. And I remember sitting in the hallway, and a janitor walked by, and he told me, he said, look into that classroom. I looked in there, and he said, well, what do you see? And I didn't say anything because I was embarrassed. And he said, what I see in there are a bunch of kids learning how to be your boss. And that hit me so deep to my core. At that point, I started to start setting higher expectations for myself. I said, I'm never going to get kicked out of the classroom again. I said, I'm going to start making good grades because I'm not going to let anybody else be my boss.
They went out and did it, and they did it across several states in a big way with major corporations, and built up a successful empire that it'd be impressive for anybody in their entire life to have a career that successful, and to do it at his age in that amount of time frame is almost unheard of in the industry that we're in.
Today I want to talk to you about finishing the race.
Damon's first sermon was "Finish the Race," and it really goes with him, because anything Damon starts, he's gonna finish.
Anyone who would take the time, coming from California, to come and inspire kids, to me, that's amazing.
He's always been taught to give. The more you give, the more you receive. And so Damon has always been a giver, and that's one of the qualities that I admire in him, because he blesses others. And we often talk about, you can feed a man for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you feed him for life. And so that is a quality that he instills in everyone around him.
If one person is suffering in my community, if one person is dealing with an injustice in my community, if one person is dealing with education challenges, then that diminishes me. And I am inextricably woven together with their sense of purpose and their destiny. And so I feel compelled, I feel obligated to go help and to go share.